Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's program will be focusing on the latest exhibition of the Jordanian artist Mehna Durra. This exhibition is entitled Line and Movement. The drawings and the paintings represented in this exhibition represent a new direction and a new burst of energy from one of Jordan's most respected artists. Durra is a master of drawing. It is the foundation of his entire artistic vision and the most important means of expression. He has always made careful use of line, even in his paintings. But here, in these works, we can easily see how his lines blend drawing with a sort of calligraphy. Each line has its own individual character, but combines with the others almost like musical notes. With just a few of these sweeping lines, Mehna Durra is able to define with great expression and precision any form or character. Mehna, this exhibition is entitled Line and Movement. Could you tell me what prompted you to call it this name?
You see, I have been around seeing the exhibitions in Amman, and I'm under the impression that many of our artists here start the other way around. They start by being abstract. And maybe I'm very traditional in my thinking. I believe you have to know how to draw first. And no matter how the beautiful colors are, you see, they can never render a painting beautiful. So basically, you have to be able to draw. You have to be able to know the form, the shape, in order to develop it or to destroy it. You see, even the most abstract statues, if the one who did them, the artist who performed the work, actually didn't know about anatomy, you could easily tell these statues have no bones. So this is why I personally always insist on the academic basis. It is just like having beautiful music in your mind, you know. But if you don't know how to play the piano, how can you produce it? So first, you know how to read the note, you know how to play the piano in its most elementary way, and then you progress. And then afterwards, you can even touch the keys of the piano with your elbow. Then you are entitled to do this after having had a solid background. Well, I call this drawing and movements because it actually depicts the movements in line, the speed of the line, the energy, the dynamism, the vitality of the line. Sketches are the key to know whether the artist is good or not good. Because painting can be pasted, you know, with lots of, you know, brushes, many strokes over strokes, but a quick sketch is like a signature. It really vibrates. It gives the vibration of the artist in a very honest and direct manner.
Two established art critics, Mrs. Marina Viets and Professor Malcolm Quantrill, will share with us their views on the works of Mehna Durra. Mrs. Viets has a rich background in the history of art as well as in archaeology. She was a curator of woodwork collection for 4 years and an art editor for the cultural magazine New Circle. Professor Malcolm is a professor of architecture at the University of Jordan, and he has an international reputation as author, teacher and critic. Since 1978, he has been deputy editor of Art International.
Dr. Quantrill, you're an old friend of Mehna Durra, and I just wanted to ask you how you view his exhibit that was organized by the Cultural Center here.
Well, it's always a good thing for a friend to be in a position where he can be frank and still enjoy what he's saying and what he's looking at. And I was very excited by Mehna's new work, as he knows, and I feel he's really getting liberated and doing some really new and vigorous things, which I've been hoping for a long time from him.
Well, in your introduction, you had some reservation about the portraits that Mehna chose to exhibit, and I was just wondering why. What was your reason for it?
Well, I have very strong views about portraits, and I believe it's a very specialized form, and I have admired quite a lot of Mehna's portraits in the past, and I don't think that the ones he's shown here are as good as he can do, you see, and I really wanted to see this show as a very consistent representation of the kind of work that he's now into, and so I don't feel that all the portraits live up to this new standard.
Well, I had altogether different impression, but of course I do not speak from the perspective of your experience of knowing his work before and him as a person. I thought that a portrait in line is something very specific, and I brought today two line drawings of mine, one which is not mine but owned by us. One is from the Edo period, from 1860, of a pen in ink drawing of the British soldiers from Yokohama, and another one ink drawing of Matisse, of a woman. And it's in a very simple line. I feel that one can convey the character, that portrait doesn't have to be painted and elaborated. And
the real heart of the show is this is the vigorous figure drawing, this marvelous movement and line. I called, even with this title originally, I said, well, you know, it should just simply be Mehana Dura recent drawings, but I mean it is movement and line,
it is, yes.
And that's what comes through. And it's really it's most exciting, and I hope that we are going to see from Mehana a lot more of this kind of investigation, even larger scale,
right,
and you're really
right,
working with,
yes.
Drawing even with a big brush and so on, and that's why I think it's a breakthrough, and that's the important thing.
Well, I know that Mehana looks very much up to your opinion, and I think.
Well, he knows I'm frank, you see. I mean,
right.
so he has to take the rough with the smooth.
Absolutely, yes.
Mehna, this exhibition is entitled Line and Movement, and it is mostly drawings, but you have inserted some portraits and other landscapes here and there. Could you explain why?
You see, there's always a time when you have to pay your gas bill. So, as a matter of fact, I have heard this criticism before. As I told you, I'm fascinated by portraits and by faces, by human beings in general. Actually, if you do look at the portraits that I have put in the exhibition, they do not clash at all with the movements and the dancers, because the lines also dance themselves. There is a music in the painting, and I don't say that you have to put the music in order to appreciate the painting. You can stop the music will remain in the painting. It is, you are using your hand like the radiocardiogram needle, you know, of the heart. You know not how to say this in English properly.
Radio what?
Radiocardiogram, it
Yes.
is. And so your hand is the needle, and it is really following a certain rhythm. So whether the subject is a figure or a landscape or a portrait, as long as you are following this rhythm and the lines are dancing, it really doesn't matter.
Durra was born in Amman in 1938. In 1958, he graduated from the Academy of Fine Arts in Rome. He has had numerous exhibitions in Italy, France, the United States, the USSR, India and the Arab world. In 1970, he was decorated Knight of the Holy Order of San Silvestro by His Holiness Pope Paul VI. This honor was followed by an award of the Kaukab decoration by His Majesty King Hussein. Durra helped to establish Jordan's Institute of Fine Arts and was honored in 1977 with the State Appreciation Award for his distinguished contribution to the cultural development of Jordan. The first oil paintings of Mehna Durra date back to 1947, when Durra was only a child of 9. And his earliest watercolor was done in 1948. Since that time, Durra's various paintings and exhibitions established him as the most promising Jordanian artist of his generation. Bold and witty control of color and form. Durra's works are part of numerous official and private collections, including the Vatican, the Imperial Court of Japan, the University of Francisco, the City of Washington, D.C., and the State Museum of Moscow. World figures such as President Nicolae Ceausescu of Romania, President Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines, Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau of Canada, and David Rockefeller have purchased paintings by Durra. Mehna is also a collector of paintings. He possesses valuable works of art by Arab and international artists. Mehna, as a Jordanian artist, you are accused almost always that you are painting in a sort of avant-garde style, a liberated style. How would you defend, explain, or justify this accusation?
I really don't think I have to defend myself at all. I think an artist has to be liberated and has to be avant-garde. He has always to work and make new experiments. He must never be stagnant. You see? I know people think like this. They want me to paint all sorts of things, what they really like to see in their own daily life, and to which, subjects to which they can relate directly. Now, I have been painting portraits of Bedouins and people from different stratas of society, and I've done this for a long time. I must have painted kilometers of these portraits. Now if I reach a stage when I feel that I wish to simplify the figures and the faces and to go to that what you may call economy of line, and really be able to draw or give the correct expression, the expression required with as little, few lines as possible. So this is what I want. I'm still, of course, a Jordanian artist, and I know that they sometimes think that I'm the product of the Italian culture or the European culture. Of course, I don't think that at all this is an accusation, since culture is something international, and one can learn from culture. One shouldn't be very claustrophobic about his own culture only and refuse to learn from other cultures. See, there's always, culture is handled from one person to the other, from one civilization to another, from one nation to another, like the Olympic flame. There was a time when we were known for our refined taste in history, and not only in painting but in many other subjects. Now there is no doubt that in the field of the visual art, Europe, America is far ahead from us, and there's nothing wrong in getting the positive influence. But I'm saying influence and not imitation, which means you absorb what you see, you digest it. You know, digestion will be very well understood since we talk always about food here, no? I'm not referring to the mensa, but I mean you absorb it thoroughly and then be able to reproduce it in your own way and through your own environment. That is, if you are sincere. That's the main point, is to be sincere when you are painting, to be yourself and not to pretend I'm going to be a folk artist. I'm going to paint only the Bedouins. I'd like to be known for the desert of Jordan and for the Bedouins of Jordan. You see, no? You are working on an international scale. If I make an exhibition of local scenes only, it is good for a souvenir shop. But my ambitions, see, and I'm very ambitious, yet I'm very modest, is to compete on a bigger scale. I mean, like exhibiting my paintings, my work in Europe, in Sweden, in America, and so on.
It is the mastery of drawing, the absolute mastery of the brush, years of apprenticeship and study in the leading studios of the world, the elbow grease of severe and persevering self-discipline which give Mehna the right, when he so wants, to repudiate every form of sterile academism, and which authorizes him to wander free in the world, in space, in the world of dreams.